Hey, what's going on, good people? It's Gardner Douglas, your Oyster Ninja. We're here today with Mr. Alexander Bull. You might not recognize the name, but you will recognize the knife, the design. Look at that. Look at that. Emergo Designs. So Mr. Alexander is the creator of this beautiful work of art here. What's going on, Mr. Alexander? How you feel?
Hi. Yes, doing really fine. Very well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Not as good as you, man, because you're trending.
Yeah, it was a very nice week last week. Everybody, well, a few people like you and in Half Shell, the lady
Uh-huh.
Julie, she posted a very nice video and was amazing to have some attention for my work, my oyster knives.
For sure. So, like I said, you are the creator of this beautiful oyster knife.
Yeah.
How did you get into the oyster world, first of all?
Well, my family had a oyster business, so I'm located in the Netherlands. I used to live in Ierseke, which is like the oyster capital of Northwest Europe. And my family used to have a oyster and mussel farming business. Um, I think, well, we had like these very typical sheds where they sorted the oysters in winter, and it said 1873. So that's 120 plus years. And my family has been in the oyster business for many generations. And well, I grew up spending my summer holidays fishing and moving mussel shells to create beds for the oysters to grow on. And then one day I was studying product design, and my dad was shucking an oyster, and he broke his knife in two, and was like, "Aha! There's a nice Christmas gift. Finally got something for you." And so I was busy with a bit of knife making, and I combined it with the oyster part of my family. And that's how in 2014 I started Emergo Designs.
Nice. So yeah, Emergo Designs. I say Emergo, so I've been saying it wrong.
Oh, it's no problem.
Emergo Designs. What is it? What does that word mean? Like Emergo?
Well, you know, like New Zealand, it's named after Old Zealand, which is where I live. And that's the part of the Netherlands that's below water and where people are always talking about the floods. And we have all the dikes and we have the mills and we have the storm barrier. So that's the Zeeland where I live in. And we have uh, a local saying like it's Zeeland. It's a province. You could compare it with a state. And so our state motto is Luctor et emergo, and it means I'll wrestle and I'll rise above the water. And so emerge, emergo, is the Latin for to rise. And so that's what I chose, Emergo Designs, to well, rise above. So that's where the name Emergo comes from, and it's just another nice reference to the water where we grew up on.
Yeah, okay. So of course we see your final design, which I just showed. How many designs have you gone through to get to this one?
Well, a lot. So I started off in 2014 with a regular oyster knife, which was already very modern compared to what you mostly see out there, but it had a steel blade and a wooden handle. And that was the first knife I started making. I call it the original type, and I've shipped them worldwide, and people really seem to love them. And then I thought, like, people really seem to like to have a special knife for a special occasion, especially when it comes to oysters. So maybe I should make a more special oyster knife, which is the Jacomina one. It's made out of damas steel, and it has this pattern welded stainless steel with all the beautiful organic pattern in there, which was, it's an amazing knife. And then I was like, maybe I should do like really something different, really something innovative. And then I came up with the Hugo, which is the knife you have. And it looks the way it looks because it's made out of a massive block of titanium. And in order to get that one going, I first made 9 different versions in 3D print, and each time I was trying to virtually shuck some oysters and see what works and where you have pressure points in the hand and stuff like that. And so I 3D printed 9 different versions of them, 9 different iterations, and then I started doing that blade in aluminium to then get the machining process done. So I made like 4 or 5 out of aluminium, and then I went in titanium, which was interesting because I finished one in titanium and I hardened it and I sent it out for testing with Oesterkrakers, André Linting. He has a very nice Instagram account and he's like a professional shucker in the Netherlands. And he broke the knife, which was very good to know because then I had to go back to the drawing board. And so I think I made 3 versions in titanium before it was officially clear to go. And that took me like 1.5 years, the entire process of just starting to fiddle with 3D prints to, end up with sending the first oyster knife away to somebody. So yeah, took a lot of time.
So why titanium? Like, because that's different. I've never, experienced a titanium knife, and especially one solid piece,
Yeah, well, I don't think it's been done before like this. What I'm trying to do. I'll grab a block in a minute just to show you how massive amount of material I have to remove. But titanium, because it's titanium, it's cool. But it also has some very inherent advantages. One of them is titanium can't rust. Like if you drop your knife in the sea and you fish it up in 30 years, there is no rust on it, not like the iron, because there is no iron in there, so it can't rust. And especially here we have very salty oysters, so there is no rust. That's also why it's used for hip implants. The other reason is it's very it's all material specific, but like it's relatively flexible, which means that you could bend it and it should bend back into shape, which is also why titanium is the strongest material compared to weight. That's why you use it for aerospace landing gears, because they have to take impact from the airplane landing, but it can't weigh too much. You can't really overdimension it. So titanium, so it's a really cool material. It has some inherent properties that it can't rust, and it should be less brittle, more flexible. And then you can anodize it to color. So you have a gold one, I have here a blue one, but if I reach over, I mean, that's a pink oyster knife. Have you ever seen a pink oyster knife before?
Not at all. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that, how you could personalize it, not only with the different colors, but you can also do the engraving. So all right, so what colors can you do on the knife, and how far can you go far as the engraving?
There is like titanium anodizing is a really harmless process. So I have a bucket of salt and water, like soda and water, and then you put the knife in with some electricity. Then it forms like this titanium oxide layer, which is this oxygen salt with the titanium, and you can go the same color what you would get if you would have like stainless steel into the fire. So you start off with the bronze gold, and then you go to the purple, the blue, and then you can go to the greens in the end. So you have like this range between bronze, blue, purple, green, and then you can also leave the knife just the titanium gray color, which a lot of people seem to like. But there are all these different colors you can get in between, which is really fun. And then I have an old type case. You have the newer one, but we have the inside of the case, and there you can do like a personal engraving, and this is the one rejected that I didn't thought was good enough for Lady Oyster. So I always keep the scrap ones for myself. I try to upgrade over time, which is. But you have a very nice engraving on your one with your logo, and you can do like verses. You can do poetry, lyrics, dates, stuff like that. Logos, like you have.
Yeah.
Your logo was very nice to make.
Yeah, the Oyster Ninja is here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And so I have a lot of people, and they buy a knife like this when like a colleague retires and he really loves his oysters, and you want to give him something special, and so they give him the knife, and then everybody I engrave all the names in there, and then you have like thank you for 40 years of service for this and this company, your colleagues, and then with a date. And it's a beautiful memento. Every time you shuck an oyster, you think back to your old colleagues and you're grateful for them. So
right,
really nice for that.
Exactly. But what I love about your knife is not only is, can it be a memento? I mean, it's definitely a perfect memento gift, like you were saying, like a retirement gift or a special occasion, wedding anniversary, whatever. But it's also, you can actually shuck with it. So being an oyster shucker and coming across all types of knives and stuff like that, I run across these nice, beautiful knives, but they're not really you can't
Useful.
You can't be productive with it, but yours is the best of both worlds. Can you talk a little bit about that and just the mindset behind that, because I'm sure that had to be something you wanted to hit when you were designing this?
Well, the thing is, it all started off with my dad breaking his knife. So he usually goes with his boat, and he goes into the oyster fields, and then they fish some, and then they want to look at how are the oysters going to be this year. Are they going to be full of fish? Are they going to be fatty? Are they going to be skinny? And so he wants an oyster knife that works. And there was always, from the beginning, there was what we went for. And over time, you learn a lot of things. And it's always a very delicate balance. And we had this discussion before. You have like people who can shuck oysters, and you have people who can't shuck oysters. Some people can open an oyster with a screwdriver. Some people need to have like a hydraulic press to get into the oyster. And I'm making, for this entire range of people, I'm making a knife that it cannot break because of user inexperience, but it also has to please the very high-end shucker who could pry open the oyster with a needle without breaking the needle. And so this is this very delicate balance. And over the years, I've learned to go thicker and then thinner again, and all sort of geometries. But the main thing is that, in my opinion, the oyster knife starts with the handle. Because if you have solid grip, you have confidence, and if you have confidence, it's always easier to shuck open an oyster, because a lot of people are not confident when they're shucking. They have all heard these horror stories of people stabbing their own wrists. Recently, I was having a conversation with the lady from the Oyster Kraken, and she said that in Maine, shocking oysters is the third biggest stab wound related accident at the ER.
Wow.
In a hospital, after cutting bagels and avocados, and then you have oysters. If that's number 3, then there is a serious problem. I know they eat a lot of oysters in Maine, but then still
a lot of bagels.
Yeah, that's a US thing. We don't eat bagels around here, but just the statistic tells me that you need to have really good grip on your knife in order to have good control to easily shuck an oyster. And so everything starts with the handle, and those are the things that you're learning in 8 years of designing shuckers.
I'll say, and honestly, a bunch of shuckers have hit me up, and that's their number one thing is just, first of all, can you shuck with it? and two, the handle. Because if you look at the handle, because of the grooves and because of the shape of it, you would automatically think like, oh, it's going to kill my hand. But I can say as of now, it's comfortable. It's comfortable. It doesn't wear on my hand like you think it would. It just fits. So it's definitely got to be a science behind it. And you put the work in.
There definitely is a science behind it, because all people are like the same. They have the same autonomy relation between like this length and that length. And so you really start to play with shapes. And I put a lot of the 3D prints in my wife's hand and into people I was talking to. And I was like, how does it feel? How does it feel? And these are people that do not shock, but they hold it in their hands. And the thing is that you just want to find like the right shape. My other oyster knives, they are also like really comfortable, but they have a very stylish and like pointy end. And a lot of the professional shuckers I was talking to, and they were saying like, wow, I love your knife, but can you make something like with a rounded handle, because I really like to like push the knife in. And so when I started this design, I was like, no, you have to do something with a round handle this time. It's a must. It's yeah. So yeah, I'm really glad that it works for you, and I'm really glad that you do not find it to have any wear on your hands or fatigue or stuff like that.
I mean, so I've done I wouldn't say hard shucking. I would say, 100 oysters is pretty smooth for me. But I mean, if you can go through 100 oysters and, your hand is, it's not, it doesn't hurt. You don't have any calluses or blisters coming. So as of now, I'll keep you, keep you posted. But everything is good right now, man. I'm loving it.
No, but that's great. You have to like think that the final process when I make these knives is tumbling. And tumbling is literally a big vat of marbles, which are like compressed sanding cones. So you have a sanding abrasive. They press cones from it, and then you have it in a big bowl. And the big bowl it's shaking all day long. And what it does is just like a pebble in the ocean on a pebble beach. It just rolls in the waves and rolls and rolls. Then you have like these perfectly smooth pebbles. So this titanium pebble, it spends around 10 to 14 hours in this bowl being shaken around, being smoothed out. And that's one of the things I really learned when making this knife, that it was really the things that stick out most, they will sand down the most. And so the longer you keep it in the barrel, the smoother the knife will get.
So you talked a little bit about that smoothing out process. Could you walk us through the process of how you make the oyster knife? I mean, I guess, from the, simplified, but, if you could just talk about the process a little bit.
Let me grab a quick block of titanium.
Okay.
So this is a big block of titanium, and it's really, it weighs a lot. It's you could easily throw in a window if you wanted with this. So this is how it all starts. And I have a very nice and expensive CNC machine behind me, which was 5 years of life saving put into that. But if you have an idea, you must go for it. And what I do is that is a CNC milling machine. So I have end mills, and then I start milling all the material away, just like they would do in automotive stuff, like they do when they do metalworking. And I remove all the material, and the machine is CNC, so it's computer controlled. I have programmed it. That's why it took 1.5 years to get it going and get everything sorted out. But in a couple of steps, I take 4 steps, and then I can do the front side, the back side, do the engraving. And in the end, I end up with the knife, which is like 85% in shape. And then I start removing some tabs, and then I start hand polishing all the spots that you're touching. And I can do it to a mirror polish. I've posted this on Instagram, where you see like the engraving, and it's almost like a mirror polish. And I get it completely shiny, because when you get it shiny, the colors from anodizing, they turn out nicer. So get it completely polished, and then I do it into in the anodizing, which is first heating it up, putting it into a bucket of etching, and then put it into the bucket with the electricity. Then if I do it at a certain voltage, it becomes a certain color. So 40 is blue, 60 is green, and so I have my diagram. And then it comes out completely blue or completely green. And then the final step is to put it into this bowl of the tumbler, the bowl of, anodized tumbling media. And then I get this two-tone color because I CNC mill it, I have all like these little steps, which are really useful for grip. But the tumbling media doesn't get in there. So the sides, everything that's curved remains blue or gold or stuff like that. And the flats where you have the engraving, they'll turn silver. So you get this nice two-tone accent on the knife. And then I'm halfway, because then I still have to make the case, which I also make here in my workshop. That's a different CNC machine over there. But I have like these huge wooden beams, which were from a local dike, and a friend of mine harvested them, and I bought the wooden beams from them, and then we planed them, put them, CNC mill them, hand sand, oil, all that, and then we end up with the Hugo oyster knife, the complete set. And people really seem to enjoy them, and it's also like, oysters are so special to eat, and it's not pizza, it's an oyster. You take your time, you try to taste everything, you are busy with your preparation. I have like customers, and they emailed me that their dad is taking out the case out of the drawer, and then he polishes it up, and then he goes for oyster to the fish store, for oysters for the fish store, and he picks like this type or that type or that type, and then they pick a bottle of wine, and then you invite some friends over, and then you have oysters, which is amazing, and then you chuck them in front of your friends, and then it's a enhancement on the entire experience instead of being a nasty chore, and people really seem to like that. This making oysters even more special.
Definitely a build up and a process, man. And it even talks about, or it equates to like you said, the oyster process, starting it from a baby and just maintaining. And even with the tumbling process with oysters, just to you get the best product out of it, when you tumble oysters and you get that nice plump piece of meat. So what are your hopes and dreams for this Hugo knife, man? Like what do you hope?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. I really hope to make like the Emergo Designs my prime income, so I can provide for my family and do that by making knives. So at the moment I work 2 jobs, this job and another job, and I'm hiring in the same building as my other job is. So I wake at 6, I make sure I'm out the door really quickly, and then I start the CNC machines up, and then those machines are at work while I'm like 100 meters to the right, trying to do other work, which doesn't always work because I have like a remote webcam, and I'm working like this, but everybody's happy at the moment, so I'm not complaining. And so while I'm at work, the CNC machines are making a lot of the work, and then at the end of the day, I come back, I unload the machines, make sure everything's clean, and then on Wednesday I have my Emergo Designs day, and then I'm trying to create like the finished product. I'm polishing all the knives, I'm anodizing them, and they can tumble once again while I'm at work at the other firm. And I really hope that this grows, that people start to know me, start to know that there is something as a special oyster knife that actually works, and that people start and keep ordering oyster knives, and that I can grow this out and then get back to one job and have Emergo Designs turn into world's leading exclusive oyster knife producing company. because I think I can get there, and it's just a matter of hustle and hard work, and talking to the right people, and having some luck that some people get to know you.
Right. And I definitely wanted to put out there, for all the listening ears, you've heard me talk about the Emergo knife. You've heard Alexander talk about the beautiful knife. So for the audience, if you're not following me on social media, you set up a special discount code for the listeners and the followers
Yes.
of the Oyster Ninja. So all
Yep.
they got to do is go to your website and check out, put in Oyster Ninja as the discount code, and it's 10% off.
It's 10% off. It's www.madeforoysters.com, because it's made
Made
for
for
oysters.
oysters.
It's it would be awesome for your listeners and social media followers to have a 10% discount code, because it is a hefty purchase. It's all in the machines. It's in a titanium material. It's not a cheap knife, but it's a lifetime piece. And if we can help out a bit by giving your following a 10% discount, then it would be amazing.
No, thank you so much. And also, along with that, you offer a warranty with your knife, also, right?
I offer a 5 years warranty with my knife, which is something I didn't have to use very much. But because I make my knives, I can also repair them quite often. So I had some people, this is open, this is transparent. I had some people who broke their tip when they're trying something finicky with their chucking. And then I can just regrind the tip and you'll never see something that had happened. So I offer a 5 years warranty, yes.
And I'm looking at your booklet, and it talks about the circular oyster knife.
Yes, this is very interesting as well, because when I was doing this entire process, I was like, am I going to do another titanium blade, and then I'm going to glue wood or carbon fiber on there, and then all I'm doing is creating a lot of dust, also a lot of labor, but also a lot of dust and a lot of sanding. And the thing is that if I want to do this for the next, I'm now 30, the next 40 years, and I want to make a living out of it, then I'm going to have to sand a lot of knives, and I'm going to have to breathe in a lot of dust, even if you are wearing protective masks. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And so I started looking from how can I design a knife without glue, without chemicals, without waste material. And if you would be wanting to get rid of it, that you can recycle it. And so we came out with the concept of a massive block of titanium. There is no glue to attach scales because it's made out of a massive block. So no chemicals, no dust, no. And the thing is that if you this is grade 5 titanium. If you don't like your knife anymore, or you want to get rid of it or stuff like that, you can just send it back to me. There is the booklet in it, and I can refund you, because titanium is expensive. I can refund you if you want to. And also you can go to your local scrap metal dealer. I think you have them in the United States as well. And if you say like, this is grade 5 titanium, and then they'll be able to just recycle it for you, because once again, titanium is really expensive. So they'll gladly take that piece of metal from you.
All right. So since like you've been pumping since the Lady Oyster, since Julie, I saw some. What's been like first of all, how are you handling all of this media?
It's well, sometimes it's very, very busy, and which is great, because that's why we're doing it. And now, for the first time in 8 years, I've been able to send knives out to people in the community, like the people you just named. It was the first time for me that I can actually do something, because you guys have such a big audience, and you're so at the core of the Instagram Oyster community that if you show something, then it will reach a lot of people who are interested maybe because nobody starts Googling for a titanium oyster knife. But when you see it and you have an upcoming wedding or you have a special anniversary or something like that, you might be like that's something I want. It's good for the environment. It's a lifetime piece for the oysters, and we all love oysters that much. So yeah, well, it's great that you guys are helping me out a bit, and it's just great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I feel like it's a mutual relationship here because you're providing an awesome knife, like I said, and you know, you don't like we can help out and tell the world about it. So it's mutual.
Yeah, well, it's also very exciting because like you sent me some messages up front that you really liked it, but like with I woke up last week and Julie from In a Half Shell, she was like, I think I like it. And then the next day she dropped the video and the video was amazing. It helped me so much. But I was also like, does she like it? Does she like it? Please like it. Please like it. And she was like, oh, yeah, she likes it very much. She even made a Game of Thrones reference that you would think like Daenerys Targaryen would use it to shut down oysters or enemies,
Right.
which is, I think, one of the best compliments you can get, right? So yeah, no, it's I'm trying to keep up with the lead times to get everybody their knife within 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it would be great to just keep sending this stuff worldwide because I've had 18 countries now. So there are still 180 left for people to enjoy an Emergo Design's built knife. Is
Nice,
this by the way, the moment to say that I offer free shipping worldwide?
Perfect timing.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
What's your favorite oyster, man? You got a favorite oyster?
Okay, this is you're all American probably who are listening. I haven't ate an American oyster yet. I've once been to Florida, but I didn't get to eat an oyster back then. But we have like the local European flat, which my dad used to grow, and those are like they are absolutely amazing. And really love them. They're really salty, they're really creamy, very nice texture. Yeah, those are definitely my favorites.
I'm sure you have plenty offers, but I hope to shuck your oyster today with your knife.
Yeah, well, I really want to get doing like a road trip to the US within now and 5 years. Would be really amazing to visit a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
okay, go ahead.
What's your favorite oyster?
My favorite oyster, it all depends on my mood for one, and of course what I'm drinking. But I like the Kushi. I like Kumamoto. I like West Coast oysters for some reason, man.
Okay.
They grew on me. I didn't like them at first, but they grew on me, and like now I just every chance I get, I want a West Coast oyster, a Pacific oyster.
Because I got a lovely question last weekend, and it was from a guy who said, "Are you going to make a New Haven oyster knife or one specifically for that?" So what's the difference between, like, say, a Pacific cupped oyster, which we have around here, and a New Haven style oyster?
The biggest difference is, I guess, the water and the way they shape the oysters. But I do know, like R. Murphy and Dexter and those companies, they have a specific knife for the New Haven oyster. Okay. But they also have, so they'll have like a New Haven. They'll have I think they have a New York. They have, so I think it's the thickness and the length that changes.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. But for me, I mean, if I get, so majority of the time, when I get an oyster, I can either stab it or go through the hinge, depending on how it's harvested. So, I haven't went out and looked for a New Haven knife. You know what I mean? I can, majority of the time I can shuck an oyster, but you know, I'm a professional, I guess. You know, I gotta get used to saying that.
Yeah, well, you definitely are a professional. So how many oysters are you away from Sugar Patty in a minute?
Oh no. I can't compare. I can't even talk in the same direction as Shucker Patty, man. Shucker Patty is a boss, man. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely like 39 minutes, 39 oysters in a minute.
Yeah.
And all I'm seeing is like, oh, that poor little knife is getting so abused. But he's like,
right,
like
exactly.
a machine gun in the chucking world. It's
Right.
amazing to see.
Yeah. But you know what? As much as a legend Shucker Patty is, like now, of course he's been on the podcast, and you know, we talk often, so I consider him a friend, you know. So, you know, it's good to be in the circle.
Yeah, well, it's really amazing, this little community I was introduced into on Instagram, like real people trying to make real food in a really honest way. And like, yeah, it's really nice to see. It's not the big food chain, it's not very high output product. It's like real young people really trying to get the best out of the water. It's amazing. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, just like yours with the uh the circular, you know, oyster knife, you know, we're also, you know, spreading the word about what oysters do for the water, you know, as far as like filtering and why oysters are important. You know, it's not just about eating and having a good time and for your weddings and catering, you know, it's also about the environment. So, you know, we're all pushing the, you know, agenda, as you can say, but you know, it's
No,
all
but
part of it.
I'm glad to be becoming a part of it, and you are at the forefront. So keep going.
Sure, man. I appreciate all of that. Anything you want to add, man? Anything we skipped over, left out? Anything you want to put in?
Did you eat any oysters in Afghanistan?
No, I didn't eat any oysters in Afghanistan, man. The water I saw over there, actually, I don't think anybody would want to eat out of it. But like I said, that was in Kandahar in 2013 and 14. I'm sure things have changed. I'm sure, you know, I only saw a small portion of it. So, you know, definitely not gonna judge it. If I end up back over there in my life and I get some oysters, you know, I'm not gonna turn them down, but I wouldn't want to eat oysters out of the water I saw.
No, well, it's a very amazing part of your backstory as well, that you serve your country, and well, nothing but respect for that.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Really do.
Yeah.
So for the folks, where can we find you on the social medias? And if you want to throw your website out there again.
Yeah. So social media is on Instagram, emergo.designs.oyster.knives. You should really look me up on YouTube, because there is like a 5-minute video on how I make my oyster knives and how I've been getting everything together. So that's Alexander Bol, Bravo Oscar Lima. And the website where you find all the detailed information and the different types of oyster knife I make is madeforoysters.com.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. And again, for all our listeners, if you use Oyster Ninja at checkout, you get 10% off. And let me know what you think about the knife. If you get a knife, send me a little text, send me an email saying, hey, I love this knife. Thank you for recommending it. I know you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it because it was love put into this knife. So, Alexander, thank you so much for joining me today, man. I'm sure you got a bunch of work to catch up on. So thanks.
Well, thank you very much. It was such a joy to be on the podcast. Thank you.